うは火紅蓮の炎
まとうは水紺碧の海
What's up, everyone? I am the Kaiju no Kami, and today I'm going to be taking a look at Mill Creek's Blu-ray release of Ultraman Rube. We've got the TV series here. As always, slipcase, case, discs, movie, TV series, booklet, Ultraman information, monsters, and then episode synopsises with really awful grammar. Holy crap, the grammar is really bad in this book. Ugh, it's like they did it on Google Translate or something, and then the movie did come out on its own. So there you go. Unlike the previous Ultraman series that came out over the past few years, Ultraman Rube decided to take an interesting approach by turning the lead Ultraman character into a pair of brothers in a similar fashion to Leo and Astra and Ultraman Leo, only with both brothers working together 100% of the time rather than a few minor appearances by the younger sibling. The story is situated in a single city known as Ayaka, with a legend about 3 terrestrial beings who appeared in the city 1300 years ago, which made up of 2 heroes and a monster. Additionally, Ultraman Rube went on to become the final Ultra series to be released during Japan's Heisei era. As such, is Ultraman Rube a grand bookend to one of Japan's finest eras thus far? Or does the era end like a fart in the wind? Let's take a look at the show's heroes to find out. The heroes. As I already mentioned, Ultraman Rube is about 2 brothers who have to take on the mantle of being this universe's warriors of light. They are Katsumi and Isami Minato. The oldest brother, Katsumi, played by Yuya Hirata, is an outstanding baseball player who decided not to go to college in order to help his father raise his younger brother and sister while maintaining their family-owned clothing shop Quattro M. 城北商店街との試合は明日です。この調子では間に合いません。夜も特訓しましょう。Furthermore, Katsumi is the more laid-back brother who often tries to assess a situation before jumping into it, while his younger counterpart, Ryosuke Koiki's Asami, is hot-headed and will attack an issue without considering the consequences ahead of time.
それより勝にこのデータ見てくれ。プラズマイオンとバイブス波の値を見ろよ。すげえだろ。お前の言ってることさっぱりわからん。
Isami does go to college as he aspires to be a space archaeologist like his missing mother was. Well, unlike most Toku heroes, at least missing does not mean dead. Apparently she went out for some tofu and never came home.
子供の頃は随分遠い豆腐屋さんだなとか思ってたけど。
I'm wondering if tofu is the Japanese equivalent for cigarettes. I really like the brotherly dynamic of this show as it sets it apart from other series. Unfortunately, after the first several episodes, specifically a 2-parter revolving around a former cop who creams everyone at rock, paper, scissors with some random look attack.
Where? Oh.
The character development for the duo comes to an end as if the show had no idea what else to do with them throughout its remaining 2/3, beyond just having them get into the normal sibling arguments that occur.
テレビ作るのがどれだけ大変か知ってんのかお前。ちょっと待って、今テレビの
It's actually quite disappointing because there was so much potential that could have stemmed from them being family oriented. At the start of the series, they are given the powers to become Ultraman Rosso and Ultraman Blue while trying to help evacuate a bunch of citizens from a giant monster and are caught in its attack. They utilize a group of crystals that contain an element ability based on a previous Ultraman, which I honestly don't get. There's no reason for previous Ultraman to be based on these crystals when they are meant to be elemental powers as opposed to being Ultraman based ones. It just seems like Tsuburaya was forcing nostalgia into the show when none was necessary. Anyway, over the course of the show, the brothers acquire 5 different crystals. Their main crystals give them the powers of fire and water, and only one brother can use one crystal at a time, which does allow for a great deal of possible attack combinations. There is Ultraman Taro, who gives them the ability of fire, which is Roso's main form, while Ginga allows its user to utilize a water attack, Blue's key technique. Ultraman Tiga provides them the powers of wind, while they gain Earth from Ultraman Victory. I really do like the designs of the 2 Ultramen, especially how they look like a pair of Onis, with Roso having 2 horns while Blue has 1 on their heads. The only thing that does change with their looks when switching crystals is their colors. Fire is red, water is blue, wind is purple, and earth is brown. They do gain some additional daggers that can interact with the crystals as well for further elemental attacks, which again allow for some really ingenious combos. Lastly, they do gain a final form where the 2 brothers merge into one being as if they were Ultraman Ace, known simply as Ultraman Rube. For the first time since Ginga's first season, there is absolutely no military organization to be had. In fact, there is no government officials to be found at all during this show, which is quite odd given Ultraman's nature to normally portray the government at least trying to do something to prevent monster attacks. I understand the plot of the series showcases that this universe has never had to deal with monster attacks until this very moment in time. However, you would expect to see the government at least react in some manner of speaking. Hell, there's hardly any public officials at all in the show, with maybe a single scene of a cop helping an injured woman during a monster attack. It's quite disappointing actually, and makes the show feel like its budget was as small as Ginga's first season was. Even previous Ultraman do not appear, which is both a blessing and a detriment. I mean, I will admit, I am sick of having previous Ultraman appear in the series, as it feels like they have become babysitters to the newer heroes. Yet at the same time, it makes Rube feel a tad disjointed, as if no one from M78 actually cares about this universe. With that said, the only other main heroes are Katsumi and Asami's father Ushio and younger sister Asahi. Jinojo Yamazaki portrays this eccentric dad who comes up with some of the weirdest, ugliest t-shirt designs ever, yet is still successful enough to maintain a business.
お父さん、何ですかこれ？
感動したか？我ながら自分のセンスが怖い。
Obviously, I love t-shirts, but even I think those things are ugly. Despite being the ignorant father, Ushio is without a doubt the most fleshed out character in the entire show. We constantly get to witness his struggles to raise his family, his lament for his missing wife while remaining hopeful that they will be reunited one day, and his desire to be as positive as can be regardless of what dark future looms overhead.
たとえ世界がどうなろうと、私は船が港に帰るのを待ちます。だから。
There's also an episode where a couple of aliens trick him into believing Asahi's life is at stake, and he dives headfirst into danger in order to rescue her without a second thought. Asahi! He does exactly what he feels is best for his family, and sticks to it from start to finish. I wish I could say the same about Arisa Sonohara's Asahi, but she quickly becomes a one-note character who always loves to repeat the phrase "happy" as if she were competing with Ninja's Takaharu or Q-Ranger's Lucky for being the most annoying Toku character ever.
なんだそりゃ。
ハッピーです。
ハッピー？
こんなに素敵な方々とパーティーできるなんてハッピーです。
I really wanted to like her. However, the writers clearly had no idea what to do with her, as they ended up introducing this lackluster subplot revolving around her far too soon, and after about 3 episodes it was never mentioned again until the third to last episode in the series. While the concept itself makes sense when you think about how events played out in the premiere, you spend half of the show wondering when the revelation would further be developed, only for it not to do so until the last few minutes of the finale, making you wonder why they even bothered to begin with. It's very dumb, and makes the final battle feel like it is won via a cheap cheat code rather than actual skill. The villains. One of my main problems with modern Ultraman series is how they've taken classic villains that were very terrifying and turn them into like comedy jokes or punchlines, but none of them have done it as bad as Ultraman Rube has. Ugh. I absolutely hate how silly the classic villains are in this show. Now, there are a few I would not have minded so much as they are from a race of beings, so it makes sense that a race is going to have all kinds of varying personalities, but it happens with practically every single villain in this one. We have a Dada that is beyond silly,
迷路ってなんだすごいねちょっとやめてここちょいじゃやっぱり
followed up by 2 brainless news correspondents that include a Mayphilus and Zarab. To make it even worse, during one of their newscasts we get to see a goofy bottle wearing one of Ushio's t-shirts.
地球も大変だねこの間そこの惑星も爆発してたよ
What the frickin' hell, man? Another thing I am tired of seeing is the same classic monsters and aliens used over repeatedly. It's like the newer shows feature one new main threat, while the rest are just reused creatures. As much as I love seeing Dada, King Joe, Mayphilus, Bato, Gamora, and the like, I am so frickin' bored of it because some of those have appeared in nearly every single show since Ginga premiered. So what about the new villains? Well, the main threat is a giant frickin' cloud a la movie Galactus and Parallax. The only difference is that it does at least get a solid monster form. And by solid, I mean an actual physical form, not cool looking. Although, it is actually kind of cool looking. The only other new monster is a creature called Grigio, who does have 3 variations throughout.
俺は誇り高き科学者だ逃げるわけねえだろやっぱ逃げよ
There are 2 human villains, with the first being the absolutely best character in the show, Makoto Aizen. Aizen is the CEO of a corporation located in the center of Ayaka City, who has collected a variety of crystals that encompass numerous monsters and aliens.
本当に飛んできた
本物だすげえ
敗戦誠です
Motoko Fukami brings in an extremely energetic and outgoing performance of a man who is always hyping up what a hero should be, and most often using the monsters and aliens to test the determination of the Minato brothers.
第3話ウルトラマン日和ご期待ください
Like I said, I just adore him, as he is what the cake boss in Kamen Rider O's should have been. Nonetheless, my admiration for him goes beyond just his personality, as the man also creates his own Ultra form based on Ultraman Orb, known as Ultraman Orb Dark, Noir, Black, Schwartz.
因果の光が我もよ我が名はウルトラマンオーブダークノワールブラックシュバルツ
So yeah, basically Ultraman Orb Dark, Black, Black, Black. That is awesome. May the Schwartz be with you. Another moment I like of him is when he starts humming Guy's theme song from Orb. All around, the show was pure joy to watch whenever Aizen was on screen.
ウルトラマンさんキガさん光の力お借りしますフュージョンアップスペシウムゼペリオン
which is why it saddens me to state that he was only in the first half of it. The second half brings in some lackluster lowball wannabe Lolita named Saki Mitsurugi, played by Ayane Kineshita. Saki enters the fray declaring the Minato brothers to be unfit to be Ultraman, deeming them as fakes, and then sometimes wants to kill them, sometimes wants to just strip them of their abilities, and at other times get their assistance. She is very inconsistently written and holds no charisma whatsoever. The fact that she replaces Aizen is just an absolute insult.
ピコンピコンピコンピコン覚醒せよオーブオリジンオーブスプリームカリバー
何朝日どこでこんな綺麗なことしにあったわけ競争的にしか物事を見られないとは憐憫の情を禁じ得ないな
She becomes friends with Asahi, and that too is erratic as sometimes she is written to want to be friends with her, while at other times finding her to be a burden.
私はなすべきことをする
鶴ちゃん
その呼び方やめてくれないか調子が狂う朝日どうした朝日返事をしろ
喧嘩はハッピーではありません
ハッピーだけで済まないこともある
そんなことありませんハッピーは地球を救う
その言葉友の言葉として覚えておこう
I have no freaking idea how to describe this woman. There are some good concepts revolving around her and her origins. The problem is none of it is ever explored or developed with any sense of coherency, nor are they fleshed out to truly understand her character. There's even one moment where she transforms herself into a monster to help the Minato brothers battle Gamora, makes a comment about the situation being bad, only to then attack our heroes right after Gamora is defeated. None of this makes any sense. As much as I grew tired of Bailey and Wenjid and the Chibo and Ginga S, at least they were competently written. This girl is without a doubt the worst Ultraman antagonist in the entire franchise thus far. I'd rather have a flat, one-dimensional villain who wants to destroy the world because they're evil over whatever the hell Saki is supposed to be.
She sucks.
What makes even less sense is at one point Saki announces she is going to blow up the earth to kill a monster that is heading towards it, and everyone acts very nonchalant about it, as if blowing up the world is a normal everyday occurrence.
ひどいですよね。おかげでさ、アイゼンティックの株が紙くず同然だよ。
若者が目立ちたいだけなんじゃないですか。
それは一応 SNS で、シェルターにかくまってくれるって人を
You would think at least the government would step in or something to investigate her threat? Or is it because she became the new CEO of Aizen's company that no one cared? I just don't get it. Finally, there's one last plot point that is never answered in the series either. Aizen created an AI computer he named Darling.
はい、ダーリン、今の私の名言集に加えてくれ。
一難去ったら空を飛べお登録しました
In one episode, Darling is hacked into with the command to assassinate Saki, only for them to never reveal who the hacker was, nor mention that story bit again. It's like ADHD took over the series writing staff halfway through as the show went in all types of direction without ever picking an actual path to stay on. Hell, I can actually sum this bit of the show up based on this one single recap scene.
とにかくお前たちに兄のジャイロを使う資格はジャイロを使う資格はジャイロを
What's even worse is when you learn that Roop's head writer was the head writer from Orb. Let's just move on. The effects and music. Well, the characters and story may be irregular, but at least the effects and music are awesome. The effects are on par with Orb and Jeet as far as miniatures are concerned. Environments react to battle on screen very well. I love this moment here where Rosso sets a car free. And the CGI seems to be toned down outside of attacks and a few other aspects here or there. The camera work remains stellar for the most part, with my favorite moment being when Saki is flying away from King Joe. The only negative I have is seeing the same locations repeatedly over, given the whole show takes place in one city. Rupe's composer is Yasuharu Takanashi, who has done the soundtracks to Sailor Moon Crystal and the Toho Toku series Grand Caesar. I really like the music found in this series, and I think it might be the best work from the modern Ultraman series. Some of my favorite tracks are these.
この声援たまらんよ。
ルーブジャイロ起動を確認できません。
The opening song, Hands, sung by Masayoshi Oishi, is just an absolutely stellar opening theme that really amps you up for the show, even if the episodes themselves cannot maintain the momentum the opening provides. The ending theme is not so bad either. That one is titled Yume Hiko, and it's performed by Suzuko Momori. Overall, the music is without a doubt the show's saving grace. The episodes. Oh boy. As you can probably tell, I am not a fan of this show. Which is a shame because it started out really good. Like, okay, the first 5 episodes were kind of but then 6 through 15 were so good and interesting, had a lot of great ideas, and then nothing came out of them. Part of which was due to Aizen. He just had such a great amount of personality that made the show a delight even if the comedy got too silly at times. I mean, the man flies around his office with a jetpack. How freaking cool is that? His best moment came from the episode where he revealed his ability to transform into Or Dark Noir Black Schwartz, and that is why The Whole World Is Waiting for Me is easily my favorite episode of the entire series. It starts off with Rosso and Blue saving the city from a monster attack and posing for some high schoolers to take pictures of. This upsets Aizen to the point where he orders thousands of Ishio's new sweat-colored t-shirts to get the brothers to come to him just so he can show off his new henshin device, and then proceeds to kick their asses while scolding them for breaking the mystery of being Ultraman. There just isn't an episode that is any more fun and yet serious as this one. There's also another moment I like later on where they actually show Aizen working out with his new t-shirt, bringing back some continuity to that episode.
本当に汗じみが目立たない。これはいい買い物をした。
汗臭さは消せませんか。
だね。けど、あと9999枚あるし。
My least favorite episode is World Without Tomorrow. World Without Tomorrow follows up on what was an interestingly fun Halloween episode, in spite of the out-of-character Dada, that ended with Saki announcing she was going to blow up the Earth. Thanks to her announcement, aliens around the universe feel they need to visit the planet before it is gone and also lament the loss of the great Ushio, whose t-shirts are infamous across the galaxy.
ウシオブランドは地球で生まれ、地元だけでなく宇宙全体でも愛されている。
バド星では1枚の T シャツをめくって国が二分され宇宙戦争が起きたんだぞ。
That's so stupid.
The Zarab and Mayfields I mentioned earlier are told they need to create a documentary on Earth before its destruction and decide to set their focus on Ushio and his clothing business.
この人、ウシオブランドの創始者じゃないですか。
あの宇宙 T シャツのか。
Due to poor ratings, they pretend to capture Asahi and strap her to an Earth-destroying bomb, forcing Ushio to show why he is the father of the Ultraman.
ウシオさん、もう逃げた方がいいっすよ。
私は逃げない。
なんで？俺みたいな宇宙人置いていけばいいじゃないですか。
宇宙人でも置いていけないよ。
It's just such a dumb as shit episode with no redeeming value whatsoever. The fact that they turned Zarab and Mayphilis into a couple of bumbling idiots is absolutely insulting when there are other aliens they could have picked for such an occasion. The whole episode is nothing but one cringy comment after another, to the point where I was throwing a blanket over my head while watching it dumbfounded. I was so done with the show thanks to this episode. Granted, the remaining 7 episodes were crap anyway, as there was like 2, maybe 3 episodes worth of plot in those 7, but still. This one just broke the entire series for me, as it made me realize Tsuburaya had no idea what to do anymore and were just relying on cheap gags to get by. The movie. There's a movie! And it's what the series should have been. I don't want to go into too many details due to series spoilers. The movie takes place a year after the series. Asami is asked to continue his studies in America while Sahi is preparing for her college entrance exams, leaving Katsumi to ponder what he should do for the rest of his life. He reminisces about a former friend of his who was going to go to school for game design, only to learn the dude has become an edgelord who prefers to play Tekken 7 at his family home over actually working.
それに引き換えうちのユキオは一日中ゲームばっかりして。
うるさいな。さっさと出てってよ。
This leads him to being recruited to create a monster for an evil being inside his computer screen, as if he were channeling his inner Digifer from Gridman.
私の名前はトレニア。俺に何の用だ。私は君の願いを叶えにやってきた。
Additionally, we got some great scenes watching Ushio and his son spy on Asahi.
朝日を発見したら至急連絡されたし、ファルコン1。
だからどっちのファルコン1だよ。それに無線なくても聞こえてるし、父さん。
A hilarious henshin sequence with Jeed. The birth of a new Ultra Woman.
私はウルトラウーマングリージョ。あなたのような悪い人には反省してもらいます。
A new form called Groob.
Wind Water.
By your powers combined, I am Captain Planet!
And one of the best battle sequences from any Ultra series, despite it being in CGI. God damn, that is amazing! Let's see another clip from it. Ooh, yeah, now that's what I'm talking about. Where was this the entire series? It seems like Tsuburaya took every one of my complaints with the series and rectified them with this movie by adding in character development, government interaction, and a plot. The Blu-ray. I have got to hand it to Mill Creek. This is easily the best modern Ultra series Blu-ray to date. The subtitles are mostly competently translated with only a few errors here or there. My biggest complaint with them deals with how they keep referring to Rosso and Blue as the Brothers Ultraman, or something with Ultraman in it in singular form instead of plural. It should be the Brothers Ultramen, or Ultramen with an E, not an A.
文字通りウルトラ通信簿だ。今までの君たちのウルトラマンとしての行動を採点させてもらった。
I'm not sure why they chose to do it the way they did, but it was kind of annoying. Nevertheless, for that to really be the only negative I have with the translations makes these the best translations for the modern stuff to date, and for that I give a huge applause to Tsuburaya. Now if they could keep this up for all of their releases going forward. I am also happy to report that they have subbed the opening and ending songs! Audio and video are superb. Finally, despite being listed on the case, there is no English dub for the movie. Overall, Ultraman Rube is my least favorite of all the Neo Heisei Ultraman series, at least the main series, cause still screw or Origins. For all of its faults, Jeed would have been the superior finale to the Heisei era, as is Ultraman Rube was pretty lacking. I am going to give Ultraman Rube A well-deserved, unkind 2 out of 5 for Umps and Spendix. What started out really well in 1996 with Ultraman Tiga ends on a whimper with Ultraman Rube. That's a shame because it started out so strong. Oh well, there's always next time. Bye.
なんだよもうこいつら。戦いが終わったらいつまでもその辺にいるな。減点中。それともお前らウルトラマンか。